Hey everyone, I'm Nicole,
And I'm Gabrielle.
and we are the hosts of the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Join us every week as we discuss all the spiritual topics like astrology, mediumship, psychic insights, and so much more.
We are often joined by others we have met along our spiritual journey who are well versed in many of these areas.
Get ready for enlightening discussions and interviews and personal experiences that we hope will expand your mind and get you thinking outside of the box.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, there's something here for everyone.
Check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
Bye!
Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Soul Ecosystem Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Rising, and on this podcast, we discuss all things soul contracts. Today, we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We are still going to be utilizing the modality that I work with, which combines numerology, Jewish mysticism, astrology, and tarology to calculate your mission before you incarnated, what you agreed to experience in this incarnation before you came into it. We are going to be looking instead at a love and compatibility chart between two very up and coming actors that are just breaking the internet a little bit right now with their relationship. And that is Francois Arnaud and Connor Storrie. So I was informed by the same person that requested the Connor Storrie and Hudson Williams episode that Francois and Connor were dating. So I was very interested to see what their compatibility is like and what the soul contract system says about their numerology, about whether or not this is going to be a long-term thing, whether they're going to be together for forever or not. So if you are interested, follow along. This compatibility contract was very different than the ones that I usually see. Usually I see a very definite like yes or no in regards to whether this couple is a good match. Usually I see a very definite yes or no in regards to whether a couple is a good match. It can say like this is the ideal pair, this is the ideal partnership, and they are definitely meant to go through this incarnation together. Or I see that it's a very karmic relationship and they're meant to sort out differences. Francois Arnaud's and Connor Storrie's is completely different. And the first word that comes to mind when I wanted to kind of like explain what's happening in their compatibility is boring. And I feel so bad for saying it, but it is very uncommunicative. Over and over again, this couple has the number 9 popping up for them. And the upside of number 9s is that you guys are very comfortable being in a relationship where there's a lot of space, but there's not a lot of communication going on. So while I see passion, while I see romance, a presence of romance, a presence of artistry, they are both very, very artistic, creative souls, and they have this capacity to understand the world in a way that most people cannot. They look at it very differently, the both of them, and they kind of bond over their mutual love for the arts, their mutual love for books, and it's very, very interesting. And I'm going to kind of like tell on myself because right now, to me, that feels like this very slow burn where I expected it to be very passionate, very fueled and energetic because of what I've seen with heated rivalry. And it's not to say that their partnership isn't passionate or lacking passion in any shape or form. It's just different. And for those of you that really enjoy the kind of relationships where you guys can both relax, like be next to each other, be in the same room, but each be doing their own thing. Either one person is reading a book while the other one is like crocheting, or the other one is like doing their own hobbies. It's that kind of vibe. It feels very cozy. It feels very safe. But I do not think they have the numerology to make this last. It kind of gives you the vibe of a very older, like elderly couple that is really used to being in each other's presence, is used to doing things together. So they just do their own thing, just in the same room without really talking much because they're all talked out, because they've talked about everything under the sun. So that's the kind of vibe I'm getting here. And I'm not really loving that there's a very huge lack of communication. I kept seeing like that this is going to be a problem in their relationship. So I would love to kind of divulge all of that, dive into that for you, because I really gave a bastardized summary of what their compatibility chart looks like. And I told you guys my personal opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm right. You guys can be like, okay, this is like a perfect relationship because this is exactly the relationship that I would want. It's just my personal opinion that this kind of relationship could have some issues, especially around the communication part. So the first thing in a love and compatibility chart, when you take a look at one, is that it tells you what you guys came on here to do together. So essentially, it tells you the reason for your meetup. It tells you the reason for this partnership, why your souls felt that this partnership was important to your development as a soul in order to bring you two together on this plane. It was very intentional because all of our relationships are intentional. They're meant to either teach us like lessons surrounding like self-respect, self-love, or surrounding betrayal, surrounding pain, surrounding letting go and loss. In Connor and Francois' case, we see the number 9 as being the number of why they met, why they came together. And essentially, it's kind of sounding like they were brought together to piggyback off of each other's success. They were meant to experience widespread success, financial stability, financial abundance together. And I think it's so interesting that news of their relationship is coming about with the explosion, the absolute crazy, like media explosion of heated rivalry, because that feels very karmic. It feels like they were meant to navigate this kind of instant fame together and instant success together, and all of the positive and negative that that brings. So when it comes to both of their personalities, when they get put together, they're very logical, very scientific, very not head in the clouds, which is not at all what I expected for Connor's story, seeing as how adventurous, free-spirited, and really wild he is based off of his soul contract. You guys can check that out in 2 episodes ago, previous episode. So I did not expect that to be Connor Storrie's vibe at all, especially in a relationship. It almost feels like that part of him, the part of him that needs that freedom, that space, is kind of being grounded a little bit with Francois' energy. So they're really scientific minded, the both of them together. And part of the beauty of this relationship is that they can be very comfortable in each other's company. They can just sit silently together, watch a good show, watch a good film. They don't really get each other hyped up. They are this very comfortable, relaxing feeling of home and coziness that is very, very grounded. So some of the things that they may do together, like I mentioned, is reading books, watching TV shows, movies, meeting with close friends, and it is one of those kind of couples that's very laid back, very chill, very neutral. And I feel like coming off of having seen heated rivalry, you kind of have a certain expectation when it comes to what Hudson and what Connor would be like in a relationship. And this feels very healthy. It feels like it's the type of thing that can last a while, but I don't see them, and this is I'm just picking up like intuitive downloads. I don't see them staying together. I think that Connor is going to need a little bit more room. And this may be why they were so hesitant with going public with their relationship. I feel like Connor is going to feel too grounded by this energy that Francois is bringing in. And he might need to kind of spread his wings a little bit. So it feels like they're really sinking in, like being present with each other, enjoying each other's company, and not really taking it seriously right now. I feel like they are the perfect couple to be brought together at a time like this in their lives, one that's filled with haste, filled with busyness, because they're able to really, really relax when they have that downtime with themselves and not feel like they have to perform, not feel like they have to be on all the time, which is absolutely perfect for Connor, because I can see how that might be really tiring for him. So for this relationship to be successful, it is very, very important that there is travel. And I heard that they were recently photoed together. They were captured together at an airport going to Bermuda, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. So they're doing the traveling. That's really good for them as a couple. It's also very important that they accept each other as they are, that they don't try to change them. It's very important that if one partner feels like they have to kind of like escape for a little while and get their space for a little while, that the other doesn't try to kind of keep them contained and keep them close by for selfish reasons. It's also very important for them to converse. This is going to be, and I kid you not, it's in their love and compatibility chart. The reason they might break up is because they are not communicating well enough. Francois' personality and energy feels a little bit more avoidant than Connor Storrie's. Connor also has that little bit of avoidance in his soul contract. And I'm speaking more so to Connor's soul contract because I haven't looked into Francois yet. But Connor does have this avoidance of responsibility, avoidance of having difficult conversations. And it feels like Francois is fine with that. It feels like he's fine with not tackling the big questions like, are we going to move in? The part where the negative starts kicking in, it's the 9 again coming in for them. When the 9 is misaligned, there is a lot of things that do not go. And where the issues start happening, where the conflicts start happening is in the number 9. When it's in misalignment, when a couple is in misalignment with each other, the 9 kicks in as a lot of things being left unsaid. There's a lot of things that aren't being addressed. And again, it feels like it's coming from both of them, not just from Francois, not just from Connor. If it's not addressed, if their communication isn't addressed and goes uncommunicated for a while, what ends up happening is the relationship starts to feel very lonely. It feels like they're very alone in the relationship. And that leads to people kind of coming to conclusions, coming to assumptions without having talked to their partner about it, which can lead to a lot of misunderstandings. There's also a warning about secrets. It feels like they might have a riff or two surrounding something going unsaid. This feels like the energy of somebody going out to dinner with an ex and not telling the other partner about it. So that's dangerous territory, and that's why it's so important to communicate ahead of time. Let your partner know if that's something that you want to do, and then see if that's fine with them, if they trust you enough for that to happen. So the reason I'm saying that their karma is currently playing out as to why they were brought together is because they were brought to experience financial rewards together. They were brought to experience success together. And they are smack dab in the middle, one of the biggest successes that television has seen in a hot second. So they were meant to navigate this newfound fame together. If they don't help each other through this, some karma starts coming in for them, which manifests as the following symptoms. One of the partners may start to impose their worldview on the other and try to change them, not accept them as they are. Let's say if one of them wants to get married, wants to have a family, and the other one is just totally non-committal, totally against bringing children into the relationship. That's where one of them might try to change the other and convince them or manipulate them to do something that they didn't really want to do. Now, one of them might actually experience having a hard time finding work if they don't work out the reason that they were brought together. It can manifest as doing a lot of hard work without being paid for it, without being paid handsomely for it. Their biggest weakness as a couple is that their characters are very, very different. It almost feels like they're on this seesaw. And if one of them wants to go up, like the other is the total opposite, the polar opposite, they want to go down. They're going to be going down. They're like, you do you, but I'm going to be over here because I enjoy being grounded, while Connor enjoys being free-spirited, being a dreamer, and using his creativity to create art, to express himself through film. We saw that in Connor Storrie's soul contract because he's an excellent writer, he's an excellent director, he has the programs for it, and that is one of the things, turns out, that he wants to do with his life. In addition to the fact that they are so different, there is a refusal to compromise. So again, we kind of see this distance start building in their relationship in regards to what they do, because they're so polar opposite. One might go off and do their thing, the other might go off and do their thing, and it creates this barrier that might not be survivable for their relationship. Funnily enough, the reason they might break up is one of excessive emotions. And so far, thus far, what we've seen in their love and compatibility is that they're very, very chill. They're very down to earth. They're both in need of downtime. They're both in need of this time to be together quietly, just in each other's presence. Don't even have to talk. And then we see this kind of polar opposite energy coming in for why they would break up. Because it feels like everything that's been unsaid, everything that kind of has been festering under the surface, starts to bubble up and explode. So there's this over excess of emotions coming out. It can contribute, it can lead to a breakup. And I'm having a feeling that this is coming from Connor, when daily routines get excessively calm, excessively boring, it becomes detrimental to the relationship, because there's this need for a spark. There's this need for some kind of movement, some kind of new things happening. Especially for Connor, he needs to feel like he's moving towards a goal, like he's moving towards something. We can see this misalignment in their characters also manifest as a lot of mood swings, a lot of temperamental imbalances, or gigantic differences in everyday habits and sexual needs. This kind of polarity, if nurtured, if there is compassion and compromise, could be very good for both of them if it is nurtured. If it is not, the differences might be too much for them to handle, and they may end up ultimately going their separate ways. So all in all, I don't know why I just said all so weird. All in all, they could be a really good couple. They could be a really good couple if they weren't so set in the way that they do things. It doesn't feel like this relationship is worth the hassle of them compromising on their lifestyle, on their habits, on their routines. It feels very much like they like their lifestyle, they like their habits, they like their routines, and they want their routines to be what it is. And that can start causing them to butt heads and eventually break up. But the energy of the relationship in the beginning is one that's very, very peaceful. It feels like they feel like they're coming home to each other. They're able to hold space for each other and just be in each other's presence without having to talk everything to death, without having to feel like there's this awkward pause or awkward silence between them. And I think that in the midst of this fame and all this traveling and all of these like booking deals that Connor is going through, that Francois is going through, it feels like that's very, very needed for them at this time. Once things die down, once this media craziness surrounding heated rivalry dies down, their needs as a couple might change. One of the partners might want to stay in that habit, want to stay in that place where let's just lay low, let's just only spend time together and just hermit it out, while the other may get tired of that and be like, no, like I want to go and do things. I want to travel. I want to be out and about and go out with friends and really socialize. So I feel like that is what is happening and what will happen for Connor and Francois in their relationship. I hope they find a way to balance each other's needs and kind of manage each other's personalities in a way that is compromising and fair to the both of them. But I ultimately see this ending in a place like, okay, we want very different things. Our paces are very, very different. So we need to let this go. And that is what I have for you guys for Connor Storrie and Francois Arnaud's love and compatibility chart. I feel like this is the first time I did a love and compatibility chart on a celeb couple. So let me know how that lands for you guys. I would be very curious to look back like a year or two, 5 from now, to see how this played out, to see if this checks out with their breakup, if they end up breaking up, or if they manage to stay together. But either way, let me know what you guys think, because I loved reading all of the comments on the last Heated Rivalry episode and how you guys were telling me, I hadn't watched it at that point, but you guys were telling me how all of these things check out, like Hudson Williams things was checking out because he was donating money to children's foundations or something like that, and how Connor was actually trying to direct things, trying to step more into a director role. So that was very, very fascinating to read. If you wanted to get your own love and compatibility chart, I'm thinking about doing a special for the month of February. I haven't figured it out yet, but stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys next Friday. Have a great week.